Alright, so the first one. I love how the leaves, these golden leaves, they kind of look like one big earth tree spread out, which I think is beautiful. Alright, so now, as you can see, I can just mend the ring or rune of deference. First one we're showing, the plain vanilla one. Sad part is how America's tits are no more. If you notice, well, no, there's a little something, just not as much as in the trailer pics. You can blame Radigan for that one. Yep, it's just a plain one.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
Yeah, I find this a little questionable here. I mean, first of all, it's fractured. So, what was the point of mending a rune that's still fractured? And where's the damn cleanup crew for the lands between? I mean, it's still a hot mess. Just saying.
All right, and the number two.
The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness.
I love how my character's head came up like, bitch, what? As though this was actually supposed to be a good ending. And then realizes, wait, what?
Well then, shall we? My fair consort eternal.
Well, at least she likes me.
All right. See, now looking back at this ending, I found myself questioning. I'm like, so how was this the good ending again? You know, I know a lot of us simped for Rani Zavich, but now looking back, seeing this, I'm like, was this really a good ending? Think about it. Into darkness, despair, hopeless. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good ending when you really think about it. It sounds like saying, hey, we're gonna have everyone under the moon, we're gonna sail away for 1,000 years and F everybody. And yeah, it doesn't sound like a very good ending when you think about it. But visually, it's beautiful. Sounds great. Seems great. But it's kind of like the whole premise of if it walks like a duck, tucks like a duck, it's a duck, except that it's not a duck. And now when you actually go back and look at the dialogue, I'm like, it's kind of like, she doesn't want a cleanup crew because she knows it's going to cost too much. I mean, who's there to really run it? So it's like, how is life supposed to restart now since we sailed away? Got those who live in death just roaming around, everyone else, and well, there's nothing there. The world is barren, you know?
Forgot one. It's thriller time. It's crazy how beautiful the details are here. From the textures and everything. Like, yeah, this is PS4 built. You know. But, damn. Now watch this. There we go. And notice how the rune of death is brought back from under in between the hollow brands. That's a detail I didn't notice before, even in the vanilla ending. That's a very interesting detail I never noticed the first time around.
The fallen leaves tell a story.
Yeah, look at that tree. It looked like
of how a tarnished became eldenlord.
Wait, it's raining. That is so damn cool. I never noticed
in
that
our
before.
home, across the fog,
A whole lot of extra
the
ash.
lands between.
You notice how Lanedale now looks like freaking the Ringed City. All extra ash. Look at that thing.
Our seed will look back upon us and recall
Texture, I love it.
the age of the Duskborne.
It's thriller time. What
Yep,
zombies
it's thriller time, folks. Hopefully, you know, all the zombies come out and are part of the cleanup crew, because a lot of ashes to clean up. I love the fact that it rained
It's my big
as it began. But yeah, a lot of cleaning up to do, and yep, quite on the set. Michael Jackson zombies come on through, and yeah, we continue.
How it's done. So, obviously, that's the foot of the Earth tree. I'm one to believe that the shadow of the Earth tree is going to be here, and it's going to be lining up with all the divine towers. So, you know, it's a theory that I do believe in. Now, here's what we're going to do. So, where is the... Looking for the signs here. See? And then we have to go here. Now, notice. You can't just walk in there like that, right? A certain way to do this, so. You gotta go. See? It's the only way it opens. Man, my character's more buff than I am in real life. Notice how there's two, but then there's that third bit, so it looks like yo, them fingers were itching to have me. They were itching. Tenían el picote del diablo. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, go ahead, big one. I don't care. Hard for me. I got my finger pressed. Every finger just melt away. And now I'm self-barbecued. And as you can see, I've been barbecued, and my eyes are frenzied. Look at that. Visions of chaos. Yeah, I'm crazy. Why not? Damn. Just look at me. Damn, I'm all barbecued. My eyes are looking crazy. Goddamn. Just look at me. Look at me, folks. I've become a crazy man. You got a ghost sitting there with me, looking at me like, you son of a bitch. Te quemaste y pa' qué? Alright, let's get my clothes back on. Oh man, I'm looking all types of crazy now. So now that that's taken care of, we march here. Now you walk in, you'll notice something. You notice I'm locked out of all other endings. So now I just roll up here. And now become the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Ugh. Oh my God, my word. Whatever shall we do? Ahora, a despertar y tú vas a ver. Yeah, look how America's face just went. My word. And me. Ghost Rider, son. There wasn't gonna be a cleanup crew anyway, so why bother? You might as well just barbecue everything to cinders. In my opinion, just say.
Yep. So, in closing, after indulging you guys to the 4 endings I was able to knock out. Granted, the game has 6 endings, right? The other 2 endings were obviously the Blessing of Despair, provided that you fulfill Dung Eater's quest line, which is doable up until you burn the tree, i.e. beating Malekith. If you beat Malekith, then there's no way you can get all the 6. And that's the interesting part. If I'm not mistaken, there are 6 seabed curses in the lands between per playthrough. But you won't be able to get to all of them if you burn the tree down, because some of them are in Leyndell, some are in Altus. But the thing is, there's at least 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken, in Leyndell. But you can't get all of them if you burn the darn city to the ground. So there's that to really think about. And then of course there's the Gold Mask questline. Again, I burned it to the ground. I never even bothered pursuing the whole Corrin Gold Mask story, which actually would have helped us with getting the Law of Regression, which is an incantation that would then let us be able to reveal that Radagon is Marika, Marika is Radagon. You know, Finkel, Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel, just like in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And also thus revealing to us that basically Marika and Radagon are essentially FromSoft's ultimate take on a sexually non-binary character on a god level. So there's that. Overall, this was my New Game Plus playthrough. Just my thoughts. I really enjoyed it. I really did. As for, you know, a good chunk of it, I want to say 75% of it, it was just me. No co-op. Granted, I did use Taiki for a good chunk of the game when it came to summons. There were a few moments where I didn't really have to summon her, and I managed to pillage through the damn thing. Definitely had a lot of fun retreading the ground of Ronnie's questline and Fia's questline, and also appreciating the fact that both questlines are intertwined. So there's almost like a 2 sides to the story, but there's certain things that if you want to fulfill, you have to go into the other one. More so needing to get certain things done in Ronnie's questline in order to actually finish Fia's story, which I thought was really cool, and I actually appreciate it because he ended up getting a more deeper scope of everything underground. So there was a, like, if you're gonna do Ronnie's questline, that's cool, but if you did Fia's questline in tandem, it was even better. So, and it gave you a little more. It gave you a little more in regards to understanding what's at stake here and the complicated wire and mess that is Marika and Radagon's bloodlines, so to speak. It's a hot mess, but in a good way, because it gave you a lot. It gave you a lot to chew on, and I really appreciated that with the story. This was also my first From Software game, period. My first one. Those of you watching, obviously you're Souls vets. Hats to you guys for first playing Kingsfield or Demon Souls, the OG, not the remake. Although, I respect the remake. I like the remake. I think it's a beautiful piece of art in and of itself. And it really was the first game to really showcase the potential of PlayStation 5. So if you have a PS5 and you got Demon Souls remake, power to you. I still have a PS4. All this was done on PlayStation 4. So as far as that goes, here's my thoughts, right? I really enjoyed it. Granted, my butthole was stretched as far as the eye could see on my very, very first playthrough. Never videoed it because, again, I had no intentions on actually streaming Elden Ring, let alone Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne. But fast forward a whole year later, and we all know how it's played out. And you know what? I am not one to complain. I've been more than appreciative of the fact that I've done such a thing. And it definitely really took my understanding of an action RPG to a whole different level. That's something I really walked away from this on. And the true understanding of how a New Game Plus should be. Granted, I will say this: Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne really they were better at implementing New Game Plus. For example, with Dark Souls 3, oh, they really shoved that foot up your ass. Because right then and there, the minute you walk into the high wall and everything, really got to feel that sense of, hey, this New Game Plus, we're not pushovers. Here in Elden Ring, especially if you're over-leveled, you know, you can run through a good chunk of the game up until after Morgoth. After you get past Morgoth, you go to Consecrated Snowfields. That's when the game really brings it on. Because that's where you really start seeing the difficulty actually spike up a bit. Whereas in Dark Souls 3, you really felt it spike up until halfway through the game. Because after you get through, what's the dude? I forgot his name. God forgive me. Pontiff Sullivan. After Sullivan and Aldrich, it kind of just tapers off back into your standard difficulty. It's slightly harder. Enemies are slightly tankier, but it doesn't change that drastically. The DLC content in Dark Souls 3, the difficulty didn't really change much at all. So it didn't really scale with the rest of the game by that much at all whatsoever. It kind of just stayed with the flow of mid to late game of Dark Souls 3. Bloodborne, however, was how you properly scale a DLC with the main game. That's where Bloodborne stands the test of time. Where it's like, you go to New Game Plus and you go to the DLC world, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it just like the rest of the game. Although to be fair, I felt like the DLC scaled with New Game Plus far better than the rest of the main game of Bloodborne. Elden Ring, again, my criticism stands. After Morgoth, that's when you really start feeling the intensity of New Game Plus. You really start feeling it there. You don't really feel it too much from the jump. Now, graphically, aesthetically, this game's a piece of work all of its own. And not just any piece of work, a beautiful piece of work. Hands down, we're going to end up talking about Elden Ring another 5-10 years from now. After the DLC's done and after FromSoft decides to move to a new IP or do something else to continue the story, even though it's like, where do you go from here? That's why in the thought of an Elden Ring 2, I don't think it would happen. I think the way things play out here, I don't think that will happen. That's my opinion on it. But again, graphically, it was a big learning curve. But then when I started going back to Bloodborne and to Dark Souls 3, I really found myself really appreciating everything From Software did here in Elden Ring. Like, I appreciate the hell out of it for this reason. Again, I'm looking forward to DLC when we get there. So there's that. And this game does make a better use of 60 frames per second, unlike Dark Souls 3, which is interesting. As you can see here, Journey 3, i.e., aka New Game Plus 1. So I'm not going to jump in here. As you can see, if you do it, you go right away. I'm not trying to do all that, because then it's like, crap, I got to do this all again. But I did want to say this in closing. Those of you that tuned in through my live streams on Twitch, thank you again. Those of you who've been watching the uploads here on YouTube, thank you again. I hope you appreciate it. But when we get to June 21st, I will say this now, we will have exclusively New Game Plus 1 on YouTube. I'll be streaming all of it. And we will be doing things differently simply because we don't want to go bullet through the whole game and then go into DLC. We're going to change things up a little bit. And of course, things will be tougher and harder. And as you can see, because of the Frenzied Flame, my character looks all types of crazy now. Like, look at the dementedness. Hey, my boy looks deranged and unhinged. And I'm okay with that. But again, I'll see you guys June 21st and the 22nd. I got both nights off from work. So, 322 signing off. Love you guys.